Let's now talk about chart display in dKart Inspector. When you load a chart into the program, it can be displayed in two main ways. First, there's the chart view. This is the visual area where the chart itself is shown, just like you'd see it on a traditional ECDA screen. Second, there's the chart object tree. This is a structured list of all the objects contained within the chart. You can find it in the Active Dataset panel. Let's now take a detailed look at the chart object tree. This tree represents a hierarchical structure that organizes all ENC chart objects. At the top of the tree is the node called Dataset Description. It contains technical information and metadata such as DSID, Dataset Identification Field identifies the dataset. DSSI, Dataset Structure Information Field describes the structure of the dataset. DSPM, Dataset Parameter Field includes parameters like geodetic information. Next, you'll see two high-level branches for spatial objects, nodes and edges. These define the chart's geometry. The main part of the tree is the Feature Objects branch. Here you'll find the full content of the ENC chart, organized by object classes. Each class, e.g., buoys, depths, boundaries, contains a list of object instances. Each instance is described using a specific set of attributes, such as name, type, or jurisdiction. If you click on the header of a particular instance, it will be displayed on the chart and highlighted in red. By expanding the Instances branch, you can view its characteristics, for example, the object's name or jurisdiction level. Next is the Area Geometry branch, which shows a reference to the spatial component of the object. In this example, the selected chart object is represented using an edge with a unique ID. By double-clicking on that edge, the tree will automatically jump to its description. Here, you can see a reference back to the related feature object. View a list of vertices, the coordinate points that define the curve of the edge. If you right-click on the edge and choose Previous Object from the context menu, you'll return to the original Feature Object branch. This tree-based navigation allows you to trace connections between objects, analyze their spatial relationships. That's the essence of working with the chart object tree. Customizing the tree view. You can configure which object attributes appear in the tree. Go to File, Options, Tree tab. Under the Feature Objects section, select the attributes you want to display. Deselect the ones you don't need. For example, you might disable Object ID and Description if they are not useful. Once you apply the settings, the tree will rebuild and the unchecked attributes will no longer appear. Note, these display settings also apply to the found list, which we'll cover in the next section. One more useful note, if the chart contains unknown object classes, they'll still appear in the object tree, on the chart, and in the loader report. This helps identify unsupported or custom data. If you need to adjust how this information is displayed, go to the Tree tab in the Options window. There, you'll find various settings for customizing the tree view. Now, let's talk about the Found List tool. To open it, just right-click anywhere on the chart, preferably on a point you're interested in. This opens the Found List panel, which shows all objects located at that spot. When you select an object in the list, its attributes are displayed, and the object is highlighted directly on the chart. From here, you also have quick navigation options. You can zoom in on the object, or jump to its entry in the object tree. Let's move on to chart display controls. You can adjust how the chart looks using the main menu, the toolbars, or the Draw tab in the Options window. In the Draw tab, you can enable or disable the display of graphic chart display elements, geometric primitives, nodes, edges, lines, and areas. You can also change the color of the base coordinate grid according to your preferences or task requirements. Note that this refers specifically to the base coordinate grid used in electronic charts, not the geographic coordinate grid. And there's a very handy tool called the haircross cursor. It helps you align objects vertically and horizontally with precision, useful during chart analysis or editing. When working with charts, it's often necessary to zoom in for more detail or zoom out for a broader overview. The software offers several ways to manage zoom levels. If you need to see the entire chart at once, the overview mode is the best choice. It immediately shows the full chart area. For quick adjustments, you can use zoom in and zoom out. These double or halve the current scale with a single command. If you prefer to work with a specific scale, there's a drop-down menu where you can manually select the scale value. For smoother control, you can use the mouse wheel. This allows for fine, continuous zooming in and out, a very handy feature for precise navigation. Another option is zoom to area. You simply select a rectangle on the chart, and the system will zoom directly into that section. To return to the chart's original compilation scale, use the original scale command. And finally, if you want to lock the current zoom level to prevent accidental changes, you can use the lock zoom feature. It freezes the current view until you choose to unlock it again. To move around the chart freely, there are two main modes. The first is left-clicking. When you click the middle mouse button on any point, that point is immediately centered on the screen. The second is the drag mode, also known as hand mode. This allows you to click and hold the left mouse button to drag the chart in any direction. You can switch to this mode using the toolbar buttons, or simply by holding down the spacebar. That gives you quick temporary access to panning. All chart objects are grouped into layers, for example, natural features, constructions, depth soundings, and more. If you're only interested in certain types of information, say, just constructions or just depths, you can hide the rest. This is done through the View, Feature Layers menu, or with the corresponding toolbar button. Turning layers on and off helps reduce visual clutter and keeps your focus on the data you actually need. The software supports the S52 International Standard for Nautical Chart Presentation. There are two main display styles available: paper chart, which mimics the traditional printed nautical chart; simplified, which offers a cleaner, more minimalistic view. In addition, you can choose the level of detail: basic, standard, or full, ranging from essential features to full, detailed chart content. All of these options are accessible from the display menu and help tailor the view to your specific task. For more advanced tasks like ENC topology analysis, it's often useful to display nodes and edges, the connecting points and lines between chart objects. This option can be toggled via the toolbar. Once enabled, you'll see the structural relationships between objects, which helps when checking the logical consistency or completeness of the chart data.